Two, one. Hey, all you happy pappy people. It's our final edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk Plus for 2022 as we get ready to turn the calendar to 2023. I am Matthew Hatfield, who you hear each and every Saturday, ordinarily from 10 a.m. to 12 noon on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1 with the man that's in the dark right now. You can't see him, you sometimes hear him, and oftentimes you don't want to see him or hear him. Or if you're a big fan of him, you do want to hear him and see him. That is the coach, Ed Young, who's going to say, peekaboo, it's 2023. There he is.
Unbelievable. I was in the dark and now I can see.
You was in the dark, or you still are in the dark.
Well, somewhat. I'm from parts unknown is where I deliver my
Parts
speech
unknown.
today.
I'm in Harrisonburg, once the home of Mike Hatfield, my father, class of 77 JMU, because the Dukes of JMU play the Monarchs of ODU in women's basketball on New Year's Eve, and then we'll usher in 2023. You are in parts unknown, but I know you've been a traveling man, not to your hometown of Pennsylvania this year, but I know you've been all over town and you've been taking in some basketball, boys basketball, girls basketball, college basketball. You've been in the bootplex. You've been all over town, haven't you? Honky tonkin'.
Getting my fix of hoop play in, just to watch, and then of course also for scouting purposes. Even took in some girls high school basketball up at the bootplex. Big time tournament going on up there. Some really, really good teams, a lot of local teams, and went up there to look at some of the local teams. And I like what I saw. I tell you, I saw a girls team that's extremely talented, and I thought it was a college team, Riverdale Baptist.
They can play.
They can play, and those girls, they got some big girls. I'd swear all five of them, they're all got to be Division One. All have to be heading to Division One. I mean, they're that good. And they played a team that also very good. They beat them by 5, Bishop Ireton. So as we go in the dark once again.
Yeah, there you go. He's got people driving behind him, everything. And we got some coaching milestones on the boys' side. Greg Maynard, kudos to him of Albemarle getting his 550th win. I know Rick Cormany's coming up on second all time to match Bill Littlepage of Hopewell, Billy Pope at Northside, closing on 600 wins, and you're 5 away from 500 wins. So you'll have a chance to get that in 2023, and we'll have time to talk all kinds of high school hoops and all kinds of things on 757 Saturday Sports Talk and on our future video episodes and all that jazz. And people can call in on ESPN Radio 94.1 and talk to us and interact with us. But it's time now for the segment everybody loves. We've only got 2 more weeks of it until the playoffs, and that is the NFL picks for week number 17 in the league where they play for pay. Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I tell you what, the NFL, in a word this year, is a circus. And the latest circus, my Las Vegas Raiders. What is going on with that depressed program? They sent Derek Carr home, or he sent himself home. All intent purposes, he's done.
I think Josh McDaniels sent him home.
I don't know. The stories I'm hearing is that since he wasn't starting, he decided to stay away from the team, to not be a distraction. That's a joke. There's more to the story. There's no way he's staying home. Somebody had to tell him to stay away. I think he's done. And if the Raiders think they're getting a Mahomes or Allen, they're crazy. And Brady is not the answer. I've already heard all that Brady maybe wanted to come to Vegas next year. What for? To spend some money? Because he's not going to help them get into the playoffs. Brady is done. He should retire after this year and be happy and go make that $49 million a year with, who is it, Fox Broadcasting? But the Raiders, my Raiders have become their turn to be part of this NFL circus this year.
Well, they're bad, but they're not as bad as the team that I root for that gave me heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, and all those things on Christmas night. And that would be, I'm not wearing the hat today, but I have the gloves still. Arizona Cardinals Bird Gang, who lost to Brady up double digits, and you could see it coming from a mile away. And we have now a quarterback. I don't even know who we have a quarterback because we got the kid from Briarwoods High School out of Penn State, Trace McSorley. And poor fella. I mean, I like Trace, but it was rough to watch on Christmas night. And
what I heard was they're bringing Jim Hart or Charlie Johnson out of retirement.
No.
And that's 2 guys you don't even remember
bring back Kurt Warner.
They were the St. Louis Cardinals back then when those two gentlemen played for them.
David Ball or Sammy Ball or John Ball. I don't even know who it is at this point. I've lost track.
Just bawling, crying. Anyways, that's
Fire Cliff Kingsbury. He can't play quarterback. Get rid of him. And he can't play quarterback anymore. He can't coach, not at the NFL level. Go coach college ball.
well. Again, I would say Kingsbury is the type. I think he's a great offensive coordinator, a la Mr. McDaniels with the Raiders. I think, and I being a coach, I don't want to talk about coaches shouldn't be doing this or shouldn't be coaching, but those two, since it's not my sport, those two guys are tremendous coordinators, but I don't think they're rock solid as head coaches.
All right, let's get to it though, and we'll do some college football playoff picks at the end as well. So here we go. Let's get the update on the folks where we stand. Three of the four competitors on ESPN Radio 94.1757 Saturday Sports Talk have secured a winning season for the regular season here in 2022. They are A.J. Risser, Dino Franza, and yours truly, Matt Hatfield. Risser did lose last week to drop to 9-7. His pick of Detroit minus 2.5 did not come through as Carolina spanked the Lions, ran all over the field on them. So 9-7 for Risser. We'll get to his pick in a second. Dino's dog, Wolf, got back on the winning track. He did have my Arizona Cardinals plus the 7.5. Should have won outright and still get the cover as the Bucs rallied to win 19-16 in overtime. So Dino now 9-6-1 on the year. And yours truly went 2-1. Chargers prevailing minus the 4 on Monday night against the hapless, hopeless, helpless Colts, 20-3. That was easy. The Steelers rallied to beat your Raiders on Christmas Eve, 13-10. So I covered -2. Thank you, Mike Tomlin, the local fella out of Denby High and Newport News, as well as William and Mary. I did lose on the one I felt pretty sure about, which was under 37.5 with San Fran, Washington. San Fran got 37, Washington got 20. Heineke goes to the bench, Wentz is in. Niners win, I lose on that one. So 2-1 for me to go to 27-18-3. But you, sir, the coach Ed Young, you'll go before I do after Dino's pick because you went 3-0. Cincinnati minus 2.5 was a winner. They almost blew it late against the Patriots, who fumbled it back. The Bills minus the 7.5 won with ease, and under 38.5 for Pittsburgh and Las Vegas covered for you. So your first 3-0 week since week 9 to bump you up to 21-27, which means if you can match that this week and next, you will get to Mount 500 as the playoffs begin.
Well, it looks like I secured the number one pick for next year too. So I will have to draft somebody that's better than me in picking this, what has now become the NFL circus.
Go get another Young. Go get Bryce Young from Alabama.
Yeah, that could be my his cousin. I saw him a couple years ago at the family reunion, and he's coin.
Okay, so here we go. Let's cue it up. Dino's dog for this week. Brought to you by nobody yet. We're working on that sponsorship for Dino. He is going with, believe it or not, Ed, Dino's taking the Houston Texans +3 at home against Jacksonville. Yes, the Texans, who are in line for number one pick, as are his Bears, prevailed last week over Tennessee, giving Jacksonville a chance to win the AFC South in Week 18 when they play the Titans. Jags are 3-7 against the spread in the last 10 matchups. Since Dino, the Texans are playing much better as the season winds down. So he's taken Houston plus the 3. As for Mr. Risser, A.J. is not going with the dog. He's going with a favorite for his lock guarantee of the week. His pick, remember last week was Detroit. He's running a little run with Detroit and Tennessee. He's going to a team that he left his heart in, and that is San Francisco minus 9.5 against your Raiders. Stidham can't get it done against Purdy. He takes the more physical, hard-nosed, smash-mouth team on the left coast, the West Coast. San Fran and Houston, the picks for Risser and Franza, respectively. You're up, and you can't take either one of them.
Well, I'm going to go. I was looking at none of those games. Well, I will. There is a game. I'm not picking the winner. I'm going over and unders. I think it is. Where am I at on that? I had it here. Give me over 41.5. New Orleans and the Eagles.
Over 41.5 for New Orleans and the Eagles. All right. Any particular reason why you like that?
Well, if Mr. Who's quarterbacking the Eagles now?
Who's quarterbacking? Jalen Hurts has been quarterbacking for much of the year, but Gardner Minshew is the guy behind him.
And another guy they're bringing off the heap. He scored, 38 against Dallas?
No, well, but you're missing the whole big point. If you were noticing this, and I was out with the Christmas Eve dinner with my pops, and I saw the score happen. Then I got home and watched the rest of the game. You know, there was a 757 guy by the name of Joshua Sweat, defensive end, who's been a sack machine, getting a pick six of Mr. Dak Prescott, and they scored 34 in that game. But their first touchdown to give them a 10-0 lead was Mr. Sweat going to the house. So they get another pick six, which they could easily do if Andy Dalton's playing quarterback. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback. If it's Taysom Hill, Dalton, or Jameis Winston, they all throw pick sixes. You play a lottery with them. They can get themselves a pick six and help that total for you.
I hope so. I remember Sweat swatting people down as a defensive stalwart for the Oscar Smith Tigers years back. But
Yeah.
I hope he gets another one and takes it in. But I'm going on the over.
I'm glad he's healthy too, because remember he had that devastating injury at Western Branch late in his career before he moved on to Florida State, and he's been a real force there for the Eagles off the edge. All right, so that's your first pick. I get two, then you get two, and I will get the last one. Or yeah, that's how it goes. I get two, you get two, and I get the last one. That's how it's going to go. So where am I going for my first selection? That's a great question. I'm going to go to an over/under as well, but it's not the over/under you're thinking of. I'm going to go to the NFC South, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers. Have you watched these two offenses this year, Ed? Yes or no?
I've seen Tampa play, I think, twice. Carolina, I think, once early in the year.
Are they impressive? Not really. Tom Brady's old as dirt, and Sam Darnold's, Sam Darnold. I told you if he goes out with a Carson Palmer, they could have a drink together and have a Darnold Palmer. But as that overview joke is going to be put to the side for now,
Yeah, you're
these two
gonna.
teams aren't scoring.
Yeah,
Huh?
the delivery of that is no longer good. It's what we call the trade expired.
Expired. Expired. Like that commercial. Expired.
It's expired. But yeah,
I'm going to
you're
go.
talking. Tampa Bay's been a big disappointment, and it's amazing how many people are talking about Brady is definitely going to play next year. I don't think he will. I don't think he should.
Under 40 and a half. These two offenses are hideous. And the last time they played, you remember what the score was when they played last time?
Under 40 and a half.
It was. I'll give it to you if you want to know what the exact score was, because that's what I do here on this edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk Plus, brought to you by nobody, but we're still waiting, keeping our hands out for sponsorship opportunities. Carolina won 21-3. That was in Carolina. This is in Tampa. And I do think the Bucks will win. I like them against the spread, so you can take it if you like it. I won't. But under 40 and a half is the pick, number one. Second selection here. All right, where do I head? Do I go back to an over/under? Nah, I don't. Cleveland, Washington is enticing to go against Mr. Wentz. Cardinals, stay away from that. Uh, Bears and Lions is very intriguing. Dolphins, poor Tua. The Dolphins ought to be ashamed for the malpractice. They let this kid's brains get scrambled. I mean, it's amazing he's come back and played as well as he has. Those people should be ashamed of themselves in Miami. Uh, Casey and Denver. Tell you what, give me the Chiefs minus 12 and a half. Did you see how despicable the Broncos were on Christmas Day against the Rams?
That was. Hey, I don't think there was anybody there, including coaches, that wanted to be there. And the day after, Hackett no longer was there. He
Yeah.
finally was let go in a disastrous of a first year head coach in the NFL. And again, I'm not going to excuse me put it all on him, but him and
Don't
Urban.
defend coaches. Stop defending them. Just bash them. You want to do it. You know it's in your heart of hearts.
No,
Just bash them.
I don't want to. I'm
Bash
sitting.
them.
McDaniel should not be head coach of the Raiders. But on the other hand, it's the players that play the games. The players have to get production. I'm not a big Derek Carr fan, but I would not blame this disastrous season on Derek Carr only. I mean, yeah, quarterback has to take a lot of credit for both winning and losing. But I hate putting it on head coaches. As long as they're doing what they're supposed to be doing, getting the planning, the practices, the game scheming for the games, changing as the game goes on, they're doing their job. Players have the ones that have to be performed, but they're making big money to do that. But yeah, I think Tampa Bay. I think Tom Brady needs to be done.
757 angle. You got Derek Nottie at Ocean Lakes High School on defense. Also, Juan Thornhill from UV and Alta Vista High fame, former state champion both football and basketball. The Chiefs have won 14 consecutive. The only thing that worries me about this game is the point spread. Broncos defense is pretty good, and they played them close the last time. Plus, Andy Reid could take his foot off the gas and not want to embarrass them, save them, keep them healthy. One seed is still at stake for the Chiefs, though. Remember, you still got the Bills and the Bengals playing on Monday night. And given the last meeting here with those two was fairly close, all right, back on December 11th, 34-28, I think the Chiefs will get a late score to win by 2 touchdowns, and they'll cover this something like, we'll call it 31-14. So give it to me, the Chiefs, for the second pick. You're up for the next two and your last two for 2022.
I think I'm going to go another over under. This might be the first time I did two in one selection.
I don't think so.
I think I'm going to LA, where the Rams and Chargers are going to play. And I kind of think, especially from the Chargers standpoint, not so sure about the Rams, that they can beat that 42.5. I'd say maybe 44
You're
combined.
going to go over 42 and
I'm
a
going
half?
I'm going to go over 42.5.
Well, the Rams put up a lot of points last week. It was against a dead Denver team in a lot of respects, but the Chargers could put up a lot of points on the Rams here. So I don't think it's a bad pick here. All right, so what's your next selection?
Now let me see here. I've taken two overs and under, so let me take somebody outright winning.
What about the Steelers Ravens rivalry game? You got Bills Bengals
Uh,
on Monday night. You got a lot of good games here to select
yeah,
from.
I don't want to. I don't want to touch rivalry games. I'm going to jump on this team's bandwagon. I don't think I picked them all year, so naturally they will lose. But give me Detroit -6 over the
Ooh,
Bears.
against Dino's Bears, I don't think they're going to cover. I think they're going to win on a field goal. This is rivalry. It's division. I think you're making a bad mistake here, and you're underestimating Justin Fields, who still wants to get that rushing quarterback record. And the Lions are coming off an ugly performance here. I think you're sleeping on Chicago a little bit, despite their defense being pretty yucky. And all right, we'll see here. This is a very, very pivotal pick for you, Mr. Young.
Yeah, because I need it. I need to win. Well, I'm not going to win six in a row. Six in a row
You
would put me.
never know what it could happen. I mean, listen, the Vikings rallied from 33 down to beat the Colts, so anything's possible, right? Speaking of the
And
Colts, anything
anything.
being possible, you know where I'm going for my last selection, right?
You're picking Indianapolis.
No, I'm picking against Indianapolis. Until the Colts beat me, which they've beaten me in other ways this year, I'm going against them because last week I won against them. The Chargers beat them. And the Giants are only laying 5.5. If the Giants can't beat this team by more than a touchdown, they don't deserve to go to the playoffs. You heard me say it. Give me the G-Men -5.5. And I'm not sure I've picked them this year. At least I don't think I've picked them much at all. So give me Big Blue minus the 5.5. That's the last pick. So to recap, Ed Young's going Lions and -6 against the Bears, Dino's Bears. Over 42.5, Chargers, Rams. Over 41.5, Saints, Eagles. I'm going under 40.5, Bucks, Panthers, and an NFC South showdown. Somebody's got to go to the playoffs from that division, right? Unfortunately. They'll get Dallas in the first round, we believe. AC -12.5 versus Denver, and the Giants -5.5. Risser's got the Niners -9.5 against Ed's Raiders, and Dino's dog, the Texans, +3 against Jacksonville, the Jaguars. Those are the picks for week number 17 in the league where they play for pay. All right, let's close it out with college football playoff semifinals. Michigan, TCU, Ohio State, Georgia. What do you think? My first thought is one of these games will be a blowout. One of them will be close. Are you feeling the same way?
Yes, I don't know why. I always say that when it comes down to this, and then I also will
You're
say
copycat.
in these four games, at least one of the underdogs will win. Buy
Mm.
or sell, at least one of the underdogs will win. The question is, which one? And
So my thinking is I think we're going to get chalk results in both of them. I think we get Michigan and we get Georgia. But I will caution Ohio State's the more live underdog because they're catching what, 7? Now, if they were whole, when I say whole, they were fully healthy. They had Jackson Smith and Jigba, the receiver, who put up that marvelous Rose Bowl showing last year against Utah. Let's say TCU against Utah. You remember that? He was phenomenal, set records. I'd love their chances better. Also, they had Trevion Henderson, the running back from Hopewell, because the running game has been lacking that same firepower, that home run threat, that pop that they have when he's in the backfield to go with CJ Stroud at quarterback. But Ed, I just don't know that Ohio State has enough. Plus, that defense, can it stand toe to toe with Georgia? And now Georgia lost a lot of pros on defense, and their corners could get beat by Marvin Harrison Jr. and some of those receivers from Ohio State. But until Georgia gets beaten, they have stepped up time and time again. They've got the ground attack, balanced. Stetson Bennett's been good at quarterback. I like them a lot, and I think Michigan's going to smoke. Maybe not smoke like 4 or 5 touchdowns, but I think they pull away from TCU in the second half. I know Max Duggan's been very good at quarterback, but I think Michigan's physicality, the offensive and defensive lines will wear down a TCU team that's gotten behind a lot this year. And if you get behind against Michigan, that's not a good recipe for success. It's just not.
No, but I'm listening to some of the experts out there talking, and a lot of people feel TCU can knock off Michigan, and Ohio State doesn't have a chance against Georgia. Me personally, I think Michigan handles TCU. I'm going to pick Georgia over Ohio State, but won't be surprised if it's close all the way through or even Ohio State wins it. Don't think they're going to be intimidated or be starry-eyed playing Georgia, though I think Georgia is focused and very determined to get that title. It's funny, in the last, just 2 years, year and a half, they become the dominant team we talk about over that Alabama team out of nowhere in terms of recruiting and getting the job done on the field. And I think they will prevail and win the whole thing. But I will not go into shock if I hear Ohio State beats Georgia.
So as we finish up here, so you heard that, fans, Ed Young saying Michigan in a rout, Ohio State is going to keep it tight, maybe knock off Georgia. So that's good news for you TCU and Georgia fans out there, because it tends to go the other way.
Gives
What's
you a
the
chance.
best storyline? What's the best storyline? Is it TCU, the Cinderella story? Is it we get a Michigan-Georgia rematch from last year's semifinal where Georgia pummeled them? Harbaugh went for some fourth downs, didn't get it. Or is it we get a Michigan-Ohio State rematch for all the marbles? The Big Ten would love it. SEC would not.
Big Ten would love it. I think a lot of people, even outside of Big Ten, might want that. And I do feel there's a strong feeling that, especially how money's being bet, that people want to see TCU getting the championship.
Really?
Just for the sake of somebody new, from what I'm hearing, new blood in there. I'm not always one of those ones for let the little guy in there. And let's call it as TCU, though I don't think they're in the same sentence with the other three in terms of tradition, constant winning. But when Gary Patterson, the head coach there, that team was 8-9 wins a year.
Yeah, they were consistent, and Sonny Dykes has taken them up a peg. I think it's been helped by what Patterson left him, and he's done a good job in his own respect and right there. But, I think people are kind of bored and tired of Georgia, a little bit like they were with Alabama, SEC fatigue. Kirby Smart's not that, you get revved up behind him type of coach. Not that I'm sure Dykes or Ryan Day are. I think people are fascinated by Harbaugh, and I think Michigan's going to be your biggest draw no matter what if they get in, despite TCU having that charm to them, like you said.
Yeah, I get how it goes. And it's funny how all of a sudden, again, from what I'm hearing, Ohio State, people say they don't belong. They're not that good. They'll probably get blown out. Ryan Day, is he going to be the long-term answer as the head coach? Which that sentence I can't believe. For Ryan Day can lose this game 50-0. And in my book, he has no chance of losing the head coaching position.
Don't tell that to Buckeye fans, though. They don't want to hear that. But I will say this: they are good enough. They do belong. However, I say all that. I wouldn't have put them in the playoff. I would have put Alabama in there. I think they're a better team. And if they were whole, I love their chances more. But without Jackson Smith and Jigba and Henderson, I don't know if they can finish it off in 4 quarters. I see them losing a heartbreaker on a field goal or overtime late. I really could.
Yeah, I don't think they'll get blown out. I really don't.
No.
And a blowout to me would be in this level would probably be 25 or more. I mean, 21 to me is not a blowout, especially if the team winning scores late. Gets a late touchdown, wins by 23 touchdowns. That's not a big deal. But it'll be interesting. I won't be mad if TCU wins it. But just to say I want TCU to win it because I want the underdog, I want somebody we don't know about or whatever. I don't. I think they belong. So it's not so much that I just want to see the underdog or whatever get that win and move on. But I think Michigan beats them.
Yeah, revenge factor will be interesting to see if we get a Georgia-Michigan rematch and even a Ohio State-Michigan rematch in the regular season to see if Michigan gets revved up for another crack at Georgia, and perhaps it could be the reverse. It could be Ohio State getting revved up for a chance to redeem themselves from the late season loss to the Wolverines. That'll do it for 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Don't forget to make sure you synchronize your watches, set your calendars. Well, set your clocks back because it's not daylight savings time or anything, but starting January 7th, we return to the airwaves, 10 a.m. to 12 noon on ESPN Radio 94.1. I'll be back in studio when we hit the airwaves in 2023. I will be going in a couple weeks after that. Ed Young will be steering the ship again from Mission Control when I have another one of my road trips. But come March, I'll be there, rain or shine, pretty much every week. And you'll hear from Ed Young, whether he's in the studio, on a phone, in Australia, in America, in France, in Germany, in Japan, or in Suffolk, or anywhere. So there you
Won't
have it.
be it won't be across the oceans. No, I'll be here. I don't have a passport. Don't have the moolah to make that move over to the oceans. But I think you might see me in studio a little bit more than you have in the past year.
So happy New Year to all you out there, and we'll talk to you in
Yeah.
2023. Again, keep it tuned. ESPN Radio 94.1. You can follow us all the time on social media online. Have a good one, Ed, and don't play with fireworks on New Year's Eve. It's not good for you.
No, I won't do it. And to those knuckleheads out there, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. All right. Let's not bring in the new year with deaths on the roadways. So party hardy, but stay behind closed doors. And if you are driving, coffee to keep you awake. That's it.
Peace, everyone. We'll talk to you in 2023. Take care.